As you may know, music in India has always been taught orally, from master to student. Rhythmic patterns, however complex, were transmitted in the form of phrases where each word or bol referred to specific strokes. For instance, the Japtal rhythmic cycle has the following bols: di na, di na, di na, di na. The only problem with this is that a single bol is not always sufficient to describe the exact stroke to be played, and in what way. For instance, if you take the first din, one may wonder what exact stroke should be played on each hand, what modulation to apply on left drum, what emphasis, which finger to use, and so on. This is of course all explained by the teacher, but if you are on your own or want to just transmit a sequence to a friend, you would need to add various notes to the rhythmic sequence. That's where SwarShala comes very handy. I'll show here how you can perfectly customize a sequence with all this information, audition it at the tempo you want, and then share it with a friend. For this example, I'll be taking a nice ghazal rhythmic cycle, but you should know that you can do the same with a melodic sequence. We'll be posting a video on that shortly. Alright, so let's get started. First of all, I'm going to create a new folder to store our stuff. I'll name it as custom. Then a subfolder into that. I'll name it ghazal to keep things tidy. And then we can create our sequence there. So I'll name it as ghazal number 1. Here's a description field where we can enter any comment. Here we can select a gharana in case your sequence is related to a specific gharana. You can even type the name if it's not available there. In our case, as it's not pertaining to any gharana, we select not applicable. Then we can select a composer. Again, if it's not in the list, you can just type the name in the box. It will be available next time you create a sequence. In this case, again, we don't know the composer, so we'll just select unknown. Now here below you have a list of different styles. We'll select ghazal, then maybe anything that is related. For example, we can say it also works on bhajans. We can control click so that the other selection remains. Then we have a reporter field where you can select who has entered the sequence in SwarShala. In this case, I'll put myself. Then you can select a rhythmic cycle to which the sequence pertains. We don't have a ghazal cycle here, so I'll type it. Then we set the number of beats, in this case 8, wrap to 4, 1 row. Then the tempo from tempo and to tempo will leave, and we press OK. There we see our sequence of 8 cells wrapped at 4 available. We can enter the strokes. Easiest way is to double click, type the name of the stroke, tab, type the name of the next, and so on. But you can also drag and drop the strokes from the tree view on the left. Okay, so now we have all our different strokes. What we can do now is to alter a bit the duration of the first stroke and of the fifth to give that specific ghazal style. We're going to increase the tempo. Ghazal feel, but the strokes need really to be customized. If we go over the first cell, we can see that there's a tooltip appearing with the settings. We can right click, click on properties, and here we see the contents of that cell. So for the right hand stroke we have Swar, left hand stroke we have a pressed G. We're going to change that into, let's say, a open G. We set it. It's maybe a bit loud, so we'll reduce the volume here. Okay. Again, we put the cursor, the mouse over the cell, and we can see the contents. Next cell, we select properties. We see that there's just a na. So we'll add a left hand stroke as well, a closed G. Again, a little bit too loud. That's better. So okay. Okay, now we see that these cells here don't have the sound we want, so we'll again right click, select properties. Here we'll reduce a bit the sound. And this one here, even though it's a T, we're going to change it to a Na, which is a soft stroke of the ring finger on the CIE, on the skin. That's better. But the name of the stroke remains T, is displayed as T, but then we play something else. Now we're going to come to these strokes here. You right click, and here we're going to add a little, what we call chutki, means a finger, like a finger K, where we, with the index finger, we make a little nice sound. Okay, now we do the same on the next cell. We add the little chutki. And then we try again. That sounds already much better. So what we can do here also is to add any comments we want to add to better document the sequence. In this case, like, we can say that we press with the middle finger of left hand. So these comments appear on the tooltip as well. Here we can see with the index finger, so we get the fingering right. Now we can set the bars. This is also a very interesting feature. So in this case is a kind of kaherwa. We'll set just the tali stroke on first beat and the kali on the fifth. We press OK, and then we can refresh, and then we see that there's the X and the 0 symbols appearing, showing the tali and kali. Alright, so now that we have our sequence, which is customized the way we want, we would like to share it with someone. So what we do is that we create a new composition, file, new composition, and we switch to tracks view. Here we're going to add one track, one tabla track. You can set it to black one as well. And then we simply drag and drop that sequence within our track. We can see it's the same. And now we will save the composition under a specific name. Okay, and then we have a composition that contains the sequence which we can send individually to someone having SwarShala. Now let's say we are the other person, we open new composition, we can double click it, and then we can hear. We can verify that all the settings are also there. We can see the commands, we can see all the details appearing there. And if we want to keep this sequence in our base, in our tabla base, we can also simply drag and drop it. There you are, we have it saved in our base. Alright, so this is how you would go along to first customizing a sequence and then sharing it with a friend having SwarShala. I hope this was useful to you. Let us know if you have any questions by emailing us at support@swarsystems.com. Thanks for your time.